fires up her engine, she is unbelievably fast. This bird could hit today over 70 miles an hour right through your heads, okay? So what I want you guys to remember is when she comes flat out towards your face like this, you close your eyes and hope for the best, all right? That honestly is the best advice we can give you, because peregrine falcons, they're built for high speed and being able to move out of the way of things as they're going so fast, whereas we're not. So what she does is she is going to come in and attack this lure just like she'd attack a pigeon. Now hopefully she's going to stay focused. The problem with peregrines is, like I said, their prey drive is so high that they love to hunt. And if you try and fly them to the glove like we did with the other birds, they would do it once or twice and then they would be guaranteed to be so bored that they would definitely go off and kill a pigeon, okay? With the lure, I stand half a chance of keeping her stimulated, because basically she doesn't have to slow down when she attacks this. She can attack it just like she would attack a pigeon. So what she does in the wild is she would go a bit differently. At the beginning, she would start off by going up very, very high, okay? When they're up really high in the sky, she could then wait for a pigeon or a bird to make the mistake of going underneath her. Once a bird does make that mistake, this bird is going to literally fold its wings into its body and it dives head first out of the sky in what's called a stoop or a dive. Now in the stoop and the dive, that's where they get their top speed. The fastest speed on record is 242 miles an hour, okay? So as they go hurtling towards a pigeon at over 200 miles an hour, this falcon literally tries to hit it in the head as it goes past with its big solid back toe and talon called a hallux. If she misses in the first attack, she then does what she's doing now, up and down, constantly bombarding the other bird until she either manages to hit it or she runs out of steam. So with the lure, I'm not trying to tease her or anything like that. We are just trying to give her the exercise that she requires and keep her well stimulated. So we can't make her work this hard for too long. We'll give her a couple more goes and then we're going to let her hit the lure and come in and get her reward for sticking with us and working so hard. So we'll do one more attack and then we're going to let her hit it after this attack, okay? So let's let her come round. Oh, here she comes. Oh. And then on the next one, get ready for the wallop because she's going to hit the lure, okay? So eyes on the falcon, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Hits it, knocks it out the sky, and give her a little clap. She was really good today. No killing pigeons, which is just what we needed. She's very proud of herself now. And we'll let her just get her breath back and then I'll bring her over a bit closer once she's had a little bit of food off of her lure. A piece of quail. And then she's going to get a whole quail for dinner today, because to try and keep her to sticking with me, I fly her a day on, a day off. So she's going to get so much food after this one flight, she gets the whole next day off because she'll be fed up all tomorrow as well. Day on, day off flying, and it's to try and keep her focused with staying with me because she gets such big rewards from me, if that makes sense. She is highly likely to survive if we lost her. The biggest predator to her up here in Scotland would be golden eagles. If she went off in the wild, there would be a chance she would eventually be killed by an eagle. Hopefully she'd be switched on enough not for that to happen, but it does happen to falconers birds that hunt up here in the Highlands. If they don't get to their bird quick enough, a golden eagle has killed their bird. Right, now luckily for me, I've got a GPS transmitter, so I can look at my phone and see where my bird is. Now, in falconry, if you were being really technical about what falconry is, it's really only hunting with falcons And even hunting with falcons, falconry is actually about 2 particular flights, because they're the 2 most spectacular things you could see with any birds of prey. And the whole of falconry is based around those 2 flights. Now, nowadays, so much more gets put under the sort of bracket of falconry, but really, that is what falconry is. Now, peregrine falcons were one of the preferred birds for falconry because they're the fastest. They are one of the most spectacular. And you had lots of famous figures throughout history that used to hunt with their falcons. You had people like Genghis Khan in Mongolia. When he wasn't off conquering the world, he was out hunting with his falcons. Then you had a Frederick II, who was a Roman emperor. And this Roman Emperor Frederick II wrote a book called The Art of Falconry. And that is like the falconer's Bible. It's about that thick, and it has everything in it you could ever possibly want to know about falconry and how to look after your bird of prey. You had Henry VIII, and even Mary, Queen of Scots, was a falconer in her day as well. So there are lots of famous figures, and the 2 flights that they really wanted to see is the waiting on flight. Now, the waiting on flight is where you take your peregrine falcon like this, you go to your hunting area, which would be a very open area, you release your falcon, and you're meant to have trained it to fly from your glove and go and sit above your head at 1,000 feet above you, right? When they're 1,000 feet above the ground, waiting on directly above your head, you would then flush a game bird underneath it, and that falcon is going to hit 200 miles an hour in front of you and try and knock the other bird out of the sky right in front of your eyes. That was, and still is, the most spectacular flight you could possibly see. And then they used to do the pursuit flight as well. And the pursuit flight, you're not allowed to do this anymore, not with the species they hunted because they're protected nowadays. But especially people like Henry VIII used to go out heron and crane hawking. So they would take their falcons out. When a heron or a crane was flying over the top of them from about 100 to 200 foot above the ground, their falcon would be released and would pursue it to thousands of feet in the sky. If the falcon was fitter, it would get above the heron, put the dive in and knock it out of the sky. If the heron was fitter, it would just outclimb the falcon and the falcon would give up the chase. And those were the 2 main flights in falconry. But again, there was no GPS. These flights could go 5 or 6 miles before you even get your bird back. They did used to follow them on horses, but people like Henry VIII would have up to 100 people spread out in the countryside, so that whichever direction the falcon went, there were spotters waiting to get the bird back for him. So that was why it was probably a royal sport back in the Middle Ages, because you had to be so rich to do it. Whereas now a peasant like me can do it because you've got a mobile phone that shows you where your bird is. She has caught stuff in the show when she's not meant to, but when we go around later, I have a gerfalcon, which is a big white Arctic falcon that they use, and he is our main hunting bird in the winter. He waits on, so he does the waiting on flight. And he is probably as fast as a peregrine. The thing is, no one's ever tested the other species. Peregrines are the only ones that have been properly tested to see how fast they can go. Well, it was a crazy American guy. He took his peregrine to 20,000 feet in a plane and jumped out, and he had a lure attached to him. And then a bit later, someone released the peregrine, and there was a GPS speed, like a GPS transmitter on it that recorded speed, and it hit the 242, catching him up out of the plane. Peregrines on every continent except Antarctica. Well, we haven't had to go and get her today, which is a bonus. So, yeah. So I'm going to take her back now, and then we are going to go over there and we're going to go and see the dogs first. You can have a little cuddle with the dogs, and then we're going to go around and show you where all the birds live and give you a bit of a guided tour. All right, guys? So give me 2 minutes. I'll put the bird in my bag back, and then we'll go and see the dogs. Right, see you in a sec, guys.